Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California and Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 16th, and right now I want to do a quick educational video on just what monsoon means, because I get a lot of confused people in my comments, and I owe it to you guys to explain just exactly what the monsoon is so we can kind of come to agreement here, because a lot of people are confused, and probably rightfully so. But no, it is not just heavy rain. When people think of the word monsoon, almost universally they will think that it's some kind of hurricane or tropical system, and it is not that. It is actually a seasonal wind pattern here, and it can both be dry or wet. The word monsoon comes from the Arabic word that means season. So how exactly does a monsoon work? You can imagine this being the desert Southwest here, maybe down towards Phoenix or Arizona. We really start to heat up that landmass as we go through the spring and summer. And then, of course, we create this vacuum, this low pressure over the landmass. And we start to sink that cooler air out over the water, and it rushes back in to fill that low pressure over the land, starts the convection, and that's what starts that seasonal monsoon pattern across the desert Southwest, known as the North American monsoon. And of course, in the winter, it's opposite here, but this is still a monsoon seasonal wind pattern as the cold air sinks and that air rushes off the landmass back out over the water, where it forms the convection over the water. So if we take a look here at the schematic on the bottom right here, again, intense summer heating, and you get the lower pressure here across the desert Southwest, and of course the air rushes in to meet that, and it's moist coming off that Gulf of California, Pacific Ocean, and sometimes even out of the Gulf of Mexico here, and it meets across New Mexico and Arizona, and at times across Nevada and California as well. And of course, again, when that hot air starts to form there, that low pressure forms in that monsoon season can be going on through later portions of June, July, August, and into September here across the desert Southwest. And when conditions are right, some of this monsoon moisture can move up across Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and even up in towards Canada. So taking a look here, I want to just kind of drive home the point that the yearly monsoon precipitation variability into California is quite high. Some seasons are definitely, in some years, definitely bring more monsoon moisture into California and Nevada versus Arizona and New Mexico. It's more of a constant. And across the Sierra Madre, it's a big portion of the yearly precipitation. So what we have going on right now is this system. I just took this about an hour ago, and we've got this system picking up some monsoon moisture and introducing it back into the Pacific Northwest. So this can, it can come all the way up across the Pacific Northwest here. And by the time it gets back up here, usually it's elevated, it's above 10,000 feet, but it's still got pretty decent moisture aloft, and it creates that instability, and it can create lightning strikes across our region. But when I say monsoon, I don't mean huge tropical system like a hurricane or a mid-latitude cyclone or some powerful storm. Not necessarily so. So again, kind of a closer look at that. This is what we're dealing with here over the next couple of days for the Pacific Northwest. But looking at percent of annual rainfall that occurs during the North American monsoon, you can see the Sierra Madre here across Mexico, some of Baja, Arizona, New Mexico. Big portion of your precipitation a year comes from the monsoon here in North America, and also across Nevada and some of the deserts of California. But as you get further west here, you see less of your average annual precipitation comes from the monsoon, but it doesn't mean you can't get some of that monsoon moisture at times. Hopefully that makes sense. And if we take a look at Tucson, Arizona, for example, you can see as we get towards the later portion of June, that monsoon season really starts to fire up, and it continues on through August, and it can continue on into early portions of September here as well. So you can really see the big percentage of the annual precipitation occurring towards that monsoon season there for Tucson, Arizona. And also the monsoon happens across a lot of other not a lot, but several other places here across the planet. And you can see that it moves up as you go on in through June, and then eventually July, and it can move up across China here as once you get on in towards the early portion of July, and even include places like Korea and even Japan here as well. So yeah, this is the world famous monsoon here across Southeast Asia. And you've got this huge mountain range out there, and you can imagine this huge land sea breeze action seasonal wind pattern that's just blasting this very moist, warm air mass here across the Indian Ocean back into this huge mountain range here. So that's why they get such intense monsoon rainfall here as well. But also there's a flip side to this monsoon flow as well, and I'm going to show you that here right now, because you can see during the winter this is also a monsoon wind pattern, and this one is dry. So just because you hear the word monsoon doesn't mean deluge or heavy rain. And this is the summer one, when the air, again, when the landmass heats up dramatically so in the summer, and then the air starts to rush in off the warm, moist Indian Ocean, you really get the intense precipitation with the summer pattern of the monsoon winds. Now, Africa, the same thing goes on. You can see in the summer months for the northern hemisphere, you get the monsoon signal here. Again, north of the equator there. And then you can see during the southern hemisphere's summer months, you get that monsoon signal to the south there as the landmass gets heated up here and you rush the air back in there as well. So this also happens across Australia. So when we're dealing with the southern hemisphere here during their winter months, during our winter months and their summer months here, they have the onshore flow, the monsoon season here, which is a bit wetter for Australia versus the offshore flow, which occurs in our summer months in the northern hemisphere, but their winter months, that occurs at a different portion of time there between April 1st and November 30th. You get that offshore monsoon drier flow. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Again, it is a seasonal wind pattern here. It does not mean hurricane or tropical system or big rainstorm, not necessarily so. Although the monsoon also can bring big, heavy rainfall amounts with it as well. But yeah, it does not by itself mean big deluge or, some kind of huge rainstorm. It is a seasonal wind pattern. It's basically like a sea breeze pattern on a much larger scale and over a much longer time period. So anyway, I hope that clears things up. If not, ask some questions down below and I'll try to do my best to answer them. Otherwise, I may be going out storm chasing tomorrow. It's pretty rare that we do get lightning potential here across, some of Washington state, especially some of the Cascades here. It does happen, of course, but it is rare, and I am a storm chaser, so I'm going to go out and chase that lightning potential here maybe early tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. I'll try to post this on both channels here as well, both California and Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Click like and subscribe. We'll do the normal briefings tomorrow. I plan on it unless I go live for one of the channels, and I will talk to you guys then.